Hello everyone and welcome to Grinds Online Ireland. I'm Tara and today we're going to be covering some algebra and some tricky equations involving modulus signs. Now just a quick recap on what a modulus sign is. It's when we have two straight lines on each side of an equation, and all it does is, it could be an equation or a number, and all it does is it forgets about the sign in front of it, and whatever comes out is always positive. So if you had the absolute modulus of 2, that would just be 2. If you had the absolute modulus of minus 3, it just forgets about that minus and it just puts out 3. If we had the absolute modulus, I'll give one more example, of minus a half, it just forgets about that minus sign and puts out a half. So whatever comes out of a modulus will always be positive. When we have an equation that has a modulus and we have to solve for x, the trick is to square both sides. So if we do that in this case, we're going to have 2x minus 1. All that squared is less than or equal to 3 squared. Now this modulus completely disappears when we square it, so it's just going to be 2x minus 1 squared is less than or equal to 3 squared, in this case will be 9. And we can multiply out this bracket now. 2x minus 1 squared is the same as 2x minus 1 multiplied by 2x minus 1. And if we multiply this out, we're going to get 2x by 2x, which is 4x squared. 2x by minus 1, that's going to give me minus 2x. And then we have minus 1 by 2x, that'll give me minus 2x, and minus 1 by minus 1, that'll give us plus 1, and that's going to be less than or equal to 9. We can add these two minus x's together, and then we're going to get 4x squared minus 4x plus 1 is less than or equal to 9. And then finally, why don't we just bring over that 9, so it becomes a minus 9, and we're left with 4x squared minus 4x plus 1 minus 9 will give us minus 8 is less than or equal to 0. Now, if we look at all of these guys, these all have a common factor of 4. So we can go ahead and divide everything by 4 just to make our life a bit simpler. So we're just left with x squared minus x minus 2 is less than or equal to 0. Now, if we just pretend that less than or equal to 0 is an equal sign for the moment, that looks exactly like a quadratic equation. And we know we can either solve a quadratic equation using the minus b formula or the x method, or whatever method you usually use, whatever one you're most comfortable with. But if we do that in this case, then we're going to get x minus 2 and x plus 1. That's going to be less than or equal to 0. So we can either have x minus 2 is less than or equal to 0, or x plus 1 is less than or equal to 0. And then solving for x, we're either going to get x is less than or equal to 2, or x is less than or equal to minus 1. So for solving this equation, where or is a real number, x must be either less than 2 or x must be less than minus 1. But if we draw that on a number line, we're going to have 2 here, we'll have 0, and we'll have minus 1. If x is less than 2, that's already going to include all the ones less than 1. So we could nearly just forget about this one and say the equation that solves this formula, the absolute modulus of 2x minus 1 is less than 3, is x must be less than 2.